This year it was like main stage right in the middle of Broad Street. You know, the elevation from going to working at Wawa to performing on, you know, like their big festival stages. It's like, okay, yeah, I can see the visceral growth, like it's right there. You know, like there's no question about it. I won't take things as seriously as they are until, you know, like the moment that it's actually happening. Then I'm like, oh, wait, I'm performing on Broadway right now, you know? During that sound check, I did not know that song. Like, I did not know that song. Like, it was such a terrible sound check. Like, I'm like, oh, the sound engineers, they're like, oh, the organizers, they're like, oh, the background singers, they're like, oh, and so we're all like, oh, I need to, you know, like really get this together. 9 hours until showtime. So during that 9 hours, I just walked around New York like a literal madman. Like, I really embodied the let's go crazy of it all. Yeah, never let anyone kill your dreams. You know, I feel like as a kid, we kind of know what we want and who we want to be. But as we get older and go through life, society kind of breaks us down and puts us in a box. Be who you want to be, do what you want to do. And society will thrive because of that, because you are existing in a true and pure way.
Hey, Jay and Marie here again.
Hi, everyone.
And before we get into it with our special guest, we just want to remind you to like,
Comment and subscribe.
and now enjoy this episode of
Good job.
After Dark. Another episode of Good Soup After Dark. I'm tonight's host, Jay Gonzalez. We have Marie Ree behind the cameras on the ones and twos. And as per usual, we have another special guest tonight. He's a performing artist. He's a pretty big deal, and honestly, I think he might be the world's next superstar. Without further ado, tonight we have Joshua Mitchell. How are you tonight?
I'm good. I mean, you're making me blush already, so it's a good start.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. I try to work on these intros, but before we get into everything, you know, I just want to give you a chance to tell the people where to find you. That's your camera there.
You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all at Joshua Mitchell Music. You can find me on all of the music streaming platforms at Joshua Mitchell. And yeah, if you find anything else, it's not me, okay? I promise.
Fair enough. And I just want to kind of get into like more recent things. You know, just recently, Wawa throws that July 4th festival over in Center City, and we saw you perform there on the main stage a couple weekends ago. Do you want to like talk about that experience a little bit before we get into more things?
Yeah, you know, it was a very meaningful experience because it was like I used to work at Wawa, and now, you know, like I'm performing on their, you know, big stages. And last year I did the same festival, but it was on kind of like the little small petite stage. But this year it was like main stage right in the middle of Broad Street. And yeah, you know, like just seeing that, like one, you know, the elevation from going to working at Wawa to performing on, you know, like their big festival stages, to two, you know, like performing on the smaller stage, then the next year performing on the main stage. It's like, okay, yeah, I can see the visceral growth, like it's right there. You know, like there's no question about it. And, you know, like that performance was so elevated. I had the dancers out, I had the musicians out. And for me, I wanted it to be that performance that like allowed me to really, just like take everything bigger, you know, like have something to show when I'm like, hey, you know, like I am the shit, you know, and people don't just hear me say it, they can actually see it. And yeah, that performance felt like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's really awesome. I mean, you used the word elevated, and it was kind of both in the literal and figurative sense, and just kind of like that progression. Because like you said, you started, well, for people who don't know, like you got a lot of your start in like street performances, right?
Yeah, you know, I would say that I got like my most traction through street performances.
Okay.
But yeah, you know, like the start of it was really, you know, like open mics, you know.
Right.
Yeah, like the open mic scene is definitely what my entry point into like the actual music industry was. And, you know, like it was very vibrant before COVID happened. But then, you know, COVID hits and, you know, there are no open mics literally. And so, yeah, like after COVID, that's when I really got into street performing, because I was like, during the pandemic, like right before the pandemic, I was able to quit my job and start singing full time. I'm like, oh, I got all these bookings for 2020. Let's go. And not gonna lie, I had gotten like fired from my job prior anyway. So it was like, okay, now I really got to just be full time singer songwriter. It was actually because I had like one last tardy or something like that, and the night before I had this performance that was going to be televised. Oh, wow. So I did an interview like this, then I did a performance during the interview, and it was on TV. And me and my brother, we went out and celebrated afterwards, and, you know, just had like a long night out. And I'm like, fuck, I got work in the morning, but, you know, it's okay. We can stay out. I'll wake up, you know, like an hour before work on an hour sleep. That didn't happen. And so that was it for me and Royal Farms. So, yeah, after that, though.
We like Wawa here better anyway.
So yeah, after that, I was like, okay, music full time. Yeah, let's get it. Then the pandemic hit, and it was like, fuck, what do I do? And during that time, live streams were a big thing, and Reddit, I'm a Reddit guy. I'm not going to front. Like, I'll be on Reddit, and Reddit has actually gotten me a lot of like social media success, not going to front. But on Reddit, they implemented like this whole live stream thing where you could live stream on Reddit. I was like, you know what, fuck it. Let me just try this, because I literally need to pay rent somehow, some way. Mm-hmm. You know, my roommate, he's like, I can't keep on, you know, floating the bill. Like, you got to, you know, do something. And by the way, my roommate's my brother too. So it's kind of like he might beat me up too. Who knows? So I'm like, okay, I got to go make some money. And I get on Reddit and start doing live streams, and it's like me virtually busking. Like, I got a little raggedy piece of cardboard. Actually, it wasn't raggedy at that point in time. Now it's raggedy because I've had it for years. But I had this piece of cardboard, and it had my Venmo and Cash App on it. And yeah, you know, people would send me money for singing to them through a screen. And I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. And so yeah, throughout the whole pandemic, I was just making ends meet through that. Literally ends meet, because I wasn't making anything extra, let me tell you. But then, you know, pandemic happens, the world opens up again, and I started getting booked again. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I can actually just, you know, perform normally, because I didn't really like the virtual thing, because it's like no one's really there in front of you. So it's just like, okay. But performing live, then my first winter as a full-time musician like comes about, and I'm like, oh shit, you know, like you actually got to really plan for the winter, because, you know, people aren't just kind of like spontaneously hitting you up for this and that, because no one's really outside because it's cold. So I was like, dang, I'm kind of broke. I have rent due, you know, in like 3 days. How am I going to pay this? And so I was like, you know what, let me hit up my brother. You know, he's got a little money. And I'm like, yo, can I borrow like $300 or $600 so I can get this busking equipment? Because I remember being out in like Rittenhouse one day, seeing a friend of mine busking, which is street performing. And yeah, I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. He let me sing a song to it. And I'm like, oh, this is nice. So I remember back to that moment, and I'm like, you know what, I could probably make a lot of money just popping out on the street. So yeah, I asked them to lend me some money so I could get this equipment. I was like, I'll pay you back in like 2 weeks. Got the equipment, went out to Rittenhouse as soon as I got it. Made my rent in like 3 days, then made the money to pay him back in like another 2. So got it back to him in 5 days, less than 2 weeks, less than a week. And I was like, oh shit, this is something right here. And yeah, you know, here we are. Ever since then, I've been, you know, like street performing, and it's been, yeah, like really helpful for my career. So
it seems like circumstance really kind of push you to focus on your career, you know, from getting fired from your day job to like the pandemic hitting and you have to adapt to the changing landscape, to going to street performances because you weren't able to book like your traditional, you know, your traditional gigs. I kind of want to take that point and transition into, you know, we spoke before this, but like my understanding is that you're just like totally independent. Like you fulfill every role. So that's like manager, booking agent. Do you want to talk about like your independence as an artist and as your own manager and like the importance of that to you?
I like that question. That's a good question. Yeah, I feel like a lot of times people, you know, they talk about being an independent artist, but the curtain isn't really pulled back that often. And yeah, like a lot of us who are independent, we are, you know, our own marketer, we're our own booking agent, we're our own manager, we're our own branding person, and you know, we're fulfilling all these roles as one person. We're our own editor, and yeah, like it gets hard, it gets taxing, and I feel like too now I've come to a point where like I've fulfilled these roles for so long, and now like I'm so good at fulfilling these roles that I kind of don't trust anybody else to fulfill them. So I'm like, now I just got to keep doing this myself, because, you know, like who else can do it as good as me? You know, like who else knows my brand as well as me? You know, like who else knows my editing style as well as me? Who can really, you know, see the vision that I want to be produced, unless I'm producing it. So yeah, you know, it's like, it's hard because, you know, you get to a point where it's like, oh, now kind of maybe do have the resources to get help. But for me, at least, I'm like, dang, do I even want help though? Because now it's like I built all of this, and I don't know, help might be a hindrance at this point. Yeah.
So it's really important for you to maintain that independence, not only just like from any type of person. Well, honestly, I guess it boils down to any leaving the responsibility of controlling your future to anyone else but you. Like you want to be the one that has, you know, the total control. And I mean, of course, there's different artists and there's different ways to do things. Like, you know, there's definitely like delegation in the field if you need it.
Yeah.
But you just find it really important to maintain like your own vision and be responsible for your own future.
Yeah, and I guess even in like a very egotistical way too, it's like, you know, since I have spent so much time kind of, you know, being the architect of my whole brand, you know, it's like I don't want someone to be able to come in, you know, and be like, oh yeah, you know, I made this, I built this, when it's like, no, I've been here since day one, you know, like building this all up, you know, from the ground up. And yeah, it's like, you know, a part of me is like, shoot, do I want to let anyone, you know, like be able to even have any inkling of, you know, claim to say, I made this, you know?
Right. Especially since you're the one that's putting in the hard work. Like you were out there literally in these streets.
Yeah.
Like putting in the work, and like, you know, like you said, you don't want anyone else taking credit for something that they didn't necessarily do. And I'm sure people have helped you in the past, but yeah, no, and that's totally understandable. Like, especially across different fields. Like Marie and I, we're a 2-person team when we do this kind of stuff. And like, you know, we have our own egos, we have our own ways. I mean, hell, like even between us, it can be like, you know, we're figuring out like the best way to work with each other, but it's just like, it's just us. So in a way we can kind of understand like, you know, like you're your own worst critic, you know, you're responsible for your own future. Like you don't need that kind of hindrance. And I guess it just really depends on what you plan on doing, but this is what's working for you. And I mean, you're trying to be the world's next superstar, right?
Yeah. You know, and there is a lot of responsibility that comes with it. Now, like you saying it like that, and me also saying there's a lot of responsibility that comes with it.
There is, yeah.
Feels like being a superhero almost, you know?
Right.
And honestly, I will say sometimes when I am out like street performing, especially when the kids are around, it kind of does feel, you know, like you're their little superhero, because you see the way that they, you know, like light up, you know, looking at you do what you love, and, you know, are potentially inspired by just watching you do the things that you love and follow your passions and your dreams. And yeah, it does make you feel like, oh, damn, wow, maybe I am doing something out here in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've definitely seen some of the content where like the kids kind of do come up and like they have like the best reaction and like they seem to be like enjoying like what you do the most. Do you do like any, just like in general, like any type of like community outreach with what you do? Or is it just kind of like really just kind of bringing happiness to the streets when it comes to the street performances?
Yeah, so thankfully this past year, really, I feel like I've been getting far more into actually, well, I won't say like actually helping the community in some way, because I do think that, like bringing arts to public spaces is an important part of like a thriving community and helping a community thrive.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, like outside of the street performances, I've really been, like diving deep into making sure that Philly actually has that infrastructure that we need for like the creative industry to actually thrive here, and for like people to want to stay in Philly and really like build themselves up in Philly. So I've been working with Valerie Gay, who, so she's on the city council, and she has this initiative where she's really trying to, one, like figure out what the arts and culture scene in Philly actually wants and needs, and two, getting the funding to implement those things, whether it be like affordable housing for artists, funding for independent artists, various grants, or, getting musicians into various restaurants or hotels and stuff like that to just create that insulation when it comes to job security. So yeah, I've been working with her. Also, Suzanne Christine, she's been doing this thing called the Original Music City, which she had a resolution passed where it named Philly the Original Music City. And, like we are a city of firsts, so many of the first things in the inception of this country happened here in Philly. And yeah, I think it's important to note, like in music too, like we are such a vibrant music city, and I feel like we're slept on in that regard. We're slept on in a lot of things, but music for sure too. And yeah, I think to have that recognition as being so pivotal to culture, arts, music is important. And so, yeah, like through that initiative, it's similar to what Val is doing, where it's like actually bringing the resources and infrastructure that like we as artists and creatives need to thrive in the city. And yeah, hopefully, like the work that I'm doing with them bears a lot of fruit for years and years to come, and really sets a strong foundation for like the Philly creative industry moving forward. Because yeah, I think we got creative talent that is literally meant for the world, and yeah, they're about to see it all.
Now, I know this is kind of a broad question, but I kind of want to continue off of the point that you're making with, Philly being like a big, like it is a big hub for the arts in general, whether that's like singing, rapping, painting. Like Maria and I have just kind of like, we're newer to Philly, but like we've kind of just seen how vibrant the city is. And just like generally, like, can you describe that? Like, and you not so general, maybe kind of like the art scene, the scene that you find yourself in, like describe the Philly scene, and can you like describe how your brand fits within that or stands out from it?
That's a really good question. Because yeah, I feel like initially coming into the Philly arts and creative scene, it was, like me being in these large groups, like filled with singers, musicians, rappers, poets, because, it was very open mic oriented, like people just coming out and wanting to be heard, like not having the I guess, experience to really be out here getting booked yet. So it's like, okay, these open mics are all we got. And yeah, like that community, I feel is so eclectic. It's so soulful. Like there's something there for everyone, to like latch onto and feel invigorated by. And yeah, now though, I feel that so much of like the creative scene that I'm a part of is a bit detached from that, and maybe purposefully so. Because like there was a point in time where a lot of my shows were band oriented. Like I'd bring out a band for everything I did, but bands, they cost a lot of money. Or they can, like if you actually want to treat them right, which, a lot of establishments here in Philly do not treat their musicians right. But, yeah, bands can be expensive, if you're paying them what they deserve to be paid. And I realized, like, shit, I just kind of need to make money in order to pay my bills and, like really think about this as, not just my creative outlet, but as my livelihood. So I was like, how can I trim this down and, make it as lightweight as possible where it can just be me? And so, yeah, like that's a big thing that the street performances have like enabled, is me being able to, just kind of like get booked in a solo capacity. And yeah, I feel like because of that, I've just been very kind of like detached from the bigger music scene and cultural scene at hand. Because a lot of times I am just doing my own thing, like walking my own path. And, like, sure, that's fine. Like you want to walk your own path, but sometimes I am like, damn, I miss those nights just kind of like going out, enjoying a jam session and being a part of, like this niche group of people that's so connected and community oriented. Yeah. Not sure if that answered the question, but.
Yeah, I think that answers my question. So, I mean, let me ask you this then. It seems like it's really important for you to stand out, like, and we keep going back to it, the world's next superstar, right?
Yeah, that's what the streets are saying, at least.
That's what the streets are saying. And, you mentioned that, like, doing the busking, like, brought upon, like, different opportunities when it comes to, like, booking gigs in the city. Are there like opportunities you got that are like kind of a little bit above the scope, something like along the lines of like the Wawa Festival where you performed on the main stage? Is there anything else like that you've done in the past?
Yeah. And it's always funny street performing too, because, since you're street performing, people, they just assume, oh, like this is just what he does. It's like I've had, big shows before street performing. Mm-hmm. And big shows, like after being a street performer. And yeah, like, let's see. There was like me opening up for Ashanti. That was cool. Ashanti, Lloyd, and Maya. Like at the Met here in Philly, which I've always wanted to perform in an opera house. So having that chance was great. Did a Prince tribute on Broadway. So that was also really cool. And yeah, it's funny, those two things were in the span of like a week or two, I think. And during that whole time period too, I had, what did I have? I think I had a sinus infection that entire time. So like during that, 2-3 week stretch, it was like that whole time it like hurt to even just swallow, and like it would hurt to just like move my mouth or anything. I'm trying to remember like where the pain was. It'd be like in my ears, my nose, and like my throat. It was not great. But I feel like something about that, it was just kind of like me really having to push through. It was like me literally being tested, like, does he have what it takes to really push through this and show the resilience that is required to, like, reach the heights that I want to reach. Because, yeah, like, you've got to embody a completely different mindset to, like, actually be, like a star, a celebrity, someone who is, the highest in their field, and I feel like doing both of those performances, like really beat that into me. Like specifically with the Broadway performance, because one thing about me, which, is something I really need to work on, is I won't take things as seriously as they are until, like the moment that it's actually happening. Then I'm like, oh, wait, I'm performing on Broadway right now, And I remember, my friend, he was like, dude, you're about to perform on Broadway. And I'm just like, yeah. Then the day comes and, I text them and, I'm texting my family. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm about to perform on Broadway, guys. Get over here, And it hit me that day, like the day of the show. And like what really made it settle in too was because, so I like busted to New York early as shit in the morning. And because we had like a sound check of, I think it was like 10 a.m., something like that. And during this sound check, like I want to say that weekend before, they had messaged me and they were like, hey, we're actually going to need you to do another song, which is going to be like the opening song of the performance. And it's like the opening song of Purple Rain 2, the album. It's called Let's Go Crazy. And, very iconic, has this opening monologue that is so iconic. And this tribute, it's like, it's going to be all diehard Prince fans there, So they're going to know this monologue word for word, know all of these songs word for word, note for note. And so I had to, like learn this song so quickly. And during that sound check, I did not know that song. Like, I did not know that song. Like, it was such a terrible sound check. Like, I'm like, oh, fuck. The sound engineers, they're like, oh, fuck. The organizers, they're like, oh, fuck. The background singers, they're like, oh, fuck. And so we're all like, oh, fuck. And, and in my head, I'm like, oh, fuck.
Okay.
I need to, like really get this together. So there's like, 9 hours until showtime. So during that 9 hours, I just walked around New York like a literal madman. Like, I really embodied the let's go crazy of it all. Because I'm just walking around New York, like singing this song, like walking the streets, like, let's go crazy, doing the fucking opening monologue. Like people are walking by me, just giving me like the side eye. This one guy, he hears me singing the song, as I'm walking down the street, and he's like, oh, they're doing this Prince tribute on Broadway tonight. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And it's so funny that like that actually happened, because I'm like, yeah, I'm performing at that later on. But so hours spent in like Central Park, me just kind of like practicing this song. And I had like my busking equipment with me too, actually. So like I'm just playing it through the speaker, in kind of like what I think is a secluded area in Central Park. There are no secluded areas in Central Park. And next thing you know, like through the bushes, I see this crowd like forming. And like when I would finish the song, because I would literally just be replaying the song over and over again, and when I would finish it, people would start cheering, and I'm like, oh fuck, I got an audience for me rehearsing right now, which is hilarious. But it's also like, I mean, this is gonna get boring at some point, because I'm literally just gonna keep on replaying this song. And so yeah, I'm doing that. And I also kind of just have like a moment of meditation where I'm just sitting in the park and, I'm really just trying to like commune with Prince. I'm like, hey, dude, like, I know you hate when people, like sing your music in general. And, like it hit me then too. I'm like, yeah, like this is really me honoring a legend, and I want to give them the respect of, having gone through such a one like grand but also like tumultuous career, where, they had to go through so much and, like practice, train, really drill it in every single day to get to the point that they were at. And yeah, I'm just sitting there thinking like, yeah, I need to change my entire mindset when it comes to actually being great and what greatness entails, the work that goes into greatness. And yeah, for that performance, it finally clicked for me. I'm like, yeah, I need to do more, like I can't just phone it in. Like I gotta truly practice. I gotta truly rehearse. I gotta truly train. I, need to truly embody like not just the physicality and the discipline of what it takes to be, a superstar, but also like really the mindset, because like so much of it is a mental game. And yeah, like that unlocked a lot for me, that performance. Yeah, it was kind of like dipping, my feet into, waters that I always wanted to be in. But, it made me realize like, oh, wait, shit, maybe I'm not just yet ready to be in those waters. And, I need to learn how to swim a little better first. Yeah.
And how have you been swimming?
I've been swimming well, not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. Started with just learning how to tread the water, but now I feel like I've got a good, freestyle in me right now. Might flip over, do a backstroke, who knows?
There you go.
But, but yeah, I do think that, as far as like growth and development goes, 2024 for me was such a pivotal year for all of that, because yeah, like I grew on social media like maybe 3 or 4 times, like what I had been previously. Like I think I had 4,000 followers at the beginning of 2024, ended the year off with like 27,000 followers.
Yeah, you're up there.
Yeah. And I was like, oh shit, like it didn't really hit me until coming into the next year that, oh wait, like these followers like actually mean something. Like these are real people who are tuned in to what I'm doing and who, want to follow my journey and come along for the ride. And like there are things I need to do, like to keep up with those people, to like keep them engaged, but to also like just communicate with them and like build a real sense of community between me and these people who, like the majority of which I don't know. And that was like the big jarring part for me. It was like, because for so long I had seen so many of y'all out and about, and that's how we met each other. That's how you found out about me, like a physical performance. But now it's like, shit, me just walking through the street, people being like, oh, I follow you on Instagram. And I'm like, oh, yeah, where'd we meet? Then they're like, no, I just found you on Instagram.
Right.
And it's like, okay, that's crazy. But I guess that's the way of the world and the way of, growth,
Yeah, that's got to be a crazy way to like kind of just communicate with people. Like, I found you online first, and now I know you're a real person.
Yeah.
I would only say, because we're still growing. That happened to us once. We were shooting like a concert, and someone came up to us, "You're the guy from the podcast." And I'm like, "I am. Who are you?" So how has it been like adjusting to kind of, because it seems like you've done a lot of your growth on social media, and you've really you started with Reddit, and just kind of like Like, is there some sort of detachment, or do you feel like motivated by it? Like, how is it, like, kind of being viral, I suppose, and translating that to like actual real life when you meet these people?
Yeah, I think at first, yeah, like I was saying, it took me a while to actually register in my head, like, oh wait, these are all real people, and like,
Right.
you know, I need to do something about these being real people and like fostering a deeper connection. Um, and then, you know, it's like meeting some of those people who've only seen me online, you know, offline is interesting to say the least. Because, yeah, it's like, yeah, we've never actually met in person. And this is, you know, like you have some sort of thought about me and who I am as a person, as an artist, but you know, I know nothing about you, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like that meeting for the first time, but for them, it's almost like, oh, wait, but I do know you, you know, because we have this relationship where you show me your life and I enjoy looking at it, you know? And yeah, you know, like for me, meeting people, it's, I don't know, it always makes me excited though, because it's like, oh wow, you know, like I get to meet this person who's been supporting my art, supporting my creativity, you know, like not necessarily from the shadows, but from the interwebs.
Right,
And
yeah.
now it's like they've come to the light, the real life. And yeah, I don't think anything touches that kind of experience of actually getting to meet your audience for the first time, your fans, your supporters. Yeah.
I know you focus like a lot in Philadelphia, but if you're going to be the world's next superstar, right? Like, well, what are like your future plans within the next couple of years as far as building upon that goal?
Yeah. So a big thing that I want to do, and I've been loosely planning it for so long. Not gonna lie, I'm big on kind of just like waiting and allowing things to just unfold and not being too stringent about like, I need this to pull together right now. Because a lot of times things do just fall into place for me, and I'm like, okay, thank God I waited and had the patience to just let it flow. That being said, yeah, I really do want to do a busking tour where it's like me just going city to city with my equipment, maybe a few musicians, and popping up in public spaces and doing the performances that a lot of people who do support me and follow me on social media know me for. And, you know, like to be able to bring that to their cities and have them be a part of those experiences that they always see on social media. Yeah, that would be nice. And also, I feel like a big part of the community that I want to cultivate is a community of that weird, zany, truly human experience where, yeah, you know, like I am just a guy posting up in a park, and we are all just humans enjoying the novelty of the experience, you know, the music, the entertainment of a random guy just hopping in on the performance with me and dancing, or, you know, some kids just coming up and being wacky and silly. And yeah, all of us just being connected as real human beings in the present moment. And yeah, I just want to bring that to as many places as I can without the pressure of, you know, like having to give me money. Because that's the cool thing about street performance too. It's like there's this natural system of, you know, like cash flow and, you know, being paid for your services. Because, you know, like I kind of hate, being the guy to be like, oh, give me this much money. I want that much money. Because, it's a bit anxiety inducing too, like trying to be like, hey, I want $10,000 for this performance. Then, kind of like waiting and saying like, oh my gosh, are they going to give me the $10,000?
Right.
Then it's like with street performing, it's like, okay, I'll just put on a great performance, and whatever people feel like they want to give me, that's what they'll give me. No hard feelings about it. And people are generous, and I feel like if you're truly showing the passion of what you love and spreading it with others, they will be receptive to that, and they'll spread love to you in some way. And yeah, I do really enjoy just that natural system. It doesn't feel like it's steeped in capitalism. It's just this beautiful human bartering system of, oh, okay, this guy's sharing his talent with me, let me share some money with him. Yeah, and kind of forget what the actual question was and how I got there, but
Well, we were talking about like kind of future steps.
oh yeah, there we go. And yeah, so like I love the idea of just spreading, these public performances and not having the need to have people buy a ticket for it, and then being just, because I think art should be universal and you shouldn't have to pay to experience good art. I'm sorry, that side eye you just gave, Reggie.
Oh, no. I saw the cat.
I know, yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I just thought it was hilarious. You're like, oh, look at that guy. But
No.
yeah, there's a cat on set. Yeah. But yeah, so that's one part of it for sure. And with those tours, like I'll probably start it in the United States because that's where I'm at. But I definitely want to take it overseas, internationally, because like so many countries, so many cities, they welcome street performance. Mm-hmm. And I feel like Europe is, huge on street performance. So definitely want to bring it there. Keep your eye out for that. But yeah, then obviously like doing big shows at venues, like open for some artists to get that circuit going, because that's really how like artists do it. Mm-hmm. It's they start opening for various artists, and they're on like a tour as openers, and then from that like they're cultivating that live fan base too, and then they can go on their own tour, start it off small, it's bigger and bigger, and you just kind of like got to build it up. But I know for me, I definitely want to start things through these kind of like free public performances, because I do think that art should be accessible, and it's kind of like what I love to do and what I'm known for, so I feel like it just makes sense. And then after that, world domination.
There you go.
I have a question, a little mark. You not only have unique voice, like really strong, and we see how you perform. At first, I thought there was a music play. You're not singing it like it real, because this man is dancing, jumping, spinning around on the stage, and his voice not even a little bit like go against any note. It's just like straight, it's like separate from you. Voice lives separate and your body lives separate. What I'm trying to say, you not only have unique voice, everyone listen, but you also have really unique style. At first, I feel is like the vibe of 80s and something. Can you share what is your style for you and how you find your style?
I would say that, I would say my bass style is very inspired by really my dad, because, he'd always wear shirts like this, these button-down shirts. And, he'd have, maybe a button or two unbuttoned, nothing excessive like this, But that's where it kind of like this started. And I come from a big family too. So 7 siblings, 5 of those siblings being older brothers. And so a lot of hand-me-downs. So, me getting, hand-me-down a lot of button-down shirts. Oh, my nipple's out. Whoa.
I'll put the podcast logo over it.
Yeah, that would actually be hilarious. I'm just imagining that now. Nip slip. But yeah, so got a lot of shirts like these just handed down to me growing up. And then at some point in time, in early adulthood, I was finally making money so I could like actually go shop for myself. I feel like that was the first time I realized oh wait, this isn't really my full style. Like that, it's just kind of what's been handed down to me. Mm-hmm. And, once I could actually really shop for myself and have the freedom of finances to get what I want, it was like, okay, you know what? I like that. I like that. I like that. I like that. And now, my closet is full of a lot of things that I feel are regal. Yeah, I feel like that is, I think, where I've really settled into now. Like, I feel like early on when I really started kind of dressing for myself, and had the freedom to kind of get what I want, it did lean heavily into 70s, 80s. But I feel like now, I really see that my style, more than anything, I enjoy regality. I just enjoy looking regal, feeling regal, and being regal. And, whether it's with the jewelry or, the big furs and, just the long draping coats flying behind me like a cape. There's something so fun about it and also cool. I was telling Mary earlier that, a lot of my styles inspired by anime too, because I grew up watching anime a lot, cartoons, and I go by the rule of cool. I just want to look cool. And the interview started out, maybe I was wearing something else, but
oh, you're not supposed to.
I know, but I got to for this because initially the reason why I had that on was because I'm like, I want to, go the full regal look, dignified. But then I was like, I kind of do enjoy, popping the chest out here and there, having that. And honestly, it's really not even about sex appeal. To me, it's just about looking cool, And if it looks cool to me, that's the way I'm going to go. If it happens to be a little sexy, well, you got my number. No, you don't, actually.
I think that answers the question, Marie.
Yeah, the first thing before you start singing, it's like, oh, you see this person, and I don't know, it makes me feel, when you look at someone and you don't know this person, you don't talk to this person. I believe we first time see you in one of the bars when our before guest was performing, and you just have the jacket and the rings and everything, and it looks like you look at this and you can't stop looking. You know what I mean? It's like you just can't. You just wherever this person go, you just look after because it's pleasant to look. It makes you feel like you want to look. And I can only imagine if someone don't know you yet and then just see you and then you start singing. That's it's like a combo. you can't stop looking, and now you can't stop listen. You know what I mean? It's like both like sense like feel pleasant. You know what I mean?
I love the way that you explain things. And no, like I feel like that's something so common amongst people who like English isn't their first language, is that they use English in such a unique way, and the way that they bring concepts together is always so poetic. I feel like it always just sounds like poetry. But thank you for all of that, because that made me feel really good. Yeah, like especially when you said, what'd you say? Yeah, it's like your body and voice are separate. When you're talking about me like dancing on the stage, like I think that's such a cool way to, like talk about like someone having good vocal endurance when they're moving around.
Yeah, because there's definitely performers out there where their body and voice are the same and they're both tired. So,
Right.
like, you just have a lot of like high energy up on that stage.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that, because not gonna lie, for that specific performance, I was like, damn, like boy, am I fucking out of breath. But I do think that, yeah, naturally, I'm just a guy who has a shit ton of energy, like just a fuck ton. It's like I'm so energetic, and there's probably like some ADHD mixed in there, undiagnosed, but like I am super energetic, and I've just got energy for days when it comes to performing. Like when I'm out doing these street performances, I'm out there, at least 2.5 hours, 3 hours. Then it's like at most I'm out there 5 hours, and it's really me singing straight through.
Right.
Like I don't take any breaks, I don't take bathroom breaks. I'm just in that park singing all the way through, because like one thing about me is I'm a showman, and it's like, oh, I don't want to keep the people waiting, like I don't want to lose their attention for a second while they're here for me.
Show must go on.
The show must go on. So like the other day, just Sunday, I was like out street performing, and yeah, like maybe an hour into the performance, I'm like, fuck, I gotta piss. Like it was hot as fuck that day too. So it's like I'm hydrated, and this guy who he's always in the park, and so he had this big case of waters, and like he's one of the homeless guy who the park is his home, and I see him all the time, every time I'm there, and we got a good relationship. And so he's like, yo, I'm about to dip out, but listen, this big case of waters, take these. And I'm like, okay, sure, because like honestly, I needed the fucking water. So I just got this big case of water, and there's probably like 24 waters in that case. I go through half of them, then offer the other half to like just people sitting in the park, because it's a hot day, and I'm not gonna drink all of them. I can't, because otherwise I'd fucking piss myself. But back to the pee. I had to pee so bad, and just an hour in too, and I'm like, I'm definitely got to go for like 3 hours, because I got a lot of people I need to pay still from that performance that I did during the festival.
Yeah.
And so 3 hour mark gets there. I'm like, fuck, I don't know how I held it in this long, but like I don't even know if I could pack up, and then go run to the bathroom. It's like I just need to go right here. But I held it in a little longer, went to the bathroom. But yeah, it's like when you are performing, at least for me, I am kind of just like, I'm thinking of, what am I thinking of actually when I perform? I would say I'm thinking of, it's weird because sometimes my mind is literally like not on the performance at all, like I'm doing, a song I've done a million times, with the motions that, I've done a million times. So it's like, oh, okay, I can just like think about what I'm gonna make for dinner or what I'm doing after this. Then there are other times where it's like, oh fuck, wait, I need to really, really lock in and, like be aware of, like how I'm making the audience feel. Like, am I really connecting with them? Then it's other times where it's like, oh, I really need to be focused on, like myself and like my body, my voice, and my mindset for this song. And, like where I'm placing my voice, how I'm singing, like what emotions I'm feeling during it, like, am I feeling the triumph that I'm supposed to be feeling? Do I feel confident as I'm singing now? And yeah, I mean, I feel like artists sometimes, I don't know, they black out during performances. And like, I definitely have those like blackout moments here and there where, yeah, it is just kind of like me just on autopilot. But I would say I've kind of like really taught myself to be present like during the performance, because I feel like when you're present, you're more intentional. And when you're more intentional, people can really engage with the performance more. Like, and granted, like there are times where it serves you to just kind of be a bit more loose and less intentional about things and just like really going with the flow, not kind of caring about what you're doing. But yeah, I think for me as a performer, like I'm so intentional about like, what is this note making you feel? Like, what is my movement making you feel? Like, are you having fun? Or are you sad now because, I sang this note that way with this word? And yeah, it's important to me to like be present during all of those moments, because then it's like I can actually look back on the performance in my head and be like, oh yeah, that was a good performance. I remember, seeing that audience member, like really enjoying themselves, or, like they broke down crying because, they were just overcome with emotion. And yeah, I like it because I feel like when I first started performing, stage fright like a motherfucker. Like I was so scared to be up there. It's weird because I feel like in my life I've always known like, oh yeah, like being a artist, being a singer, being a superstar, like that is me. Like that's my life, There's nothing that's gonna stop that from being. And so, yeah, it's like funny that growing up, I also had this crippling stage fright. It's like I'd be so confident before hopping on stage, but then as soon as I got there, my voice would be like, and, people would think I was so shy once I hit the stage. Be like, what happened to that guy? I thought he was just going to fucking bring the house down. Where'd that go? But yeah, like practicing, one, made me more confident, but two, like actually just kind of going out and performing more. And yeah, I feel like I had experiences too, just like in childhood where, like I'm singing or doing something and, like there's that one critic, and, it's always that one critic that gets you. It's never the, hundreds of people being like, oh, that was so good, you're great. It's always that guy like, oh, that fucking sucked. And, like that.
Yeah, no, I get that. Even with what we do, it's like, oh, that was a great interview. Hey, what's up with your audio? What the?
Right.
Like that one person is just like, what's up with your audio? What do you mean? But
and
yeah,
like,
no, I get that.
Something about me too is I'm good at like extracting what I need to from any criticism that I get. Like leaving the things that are just, like people being, like a hater, but then also taking the things that, oh wait, like I could do that better, or I could be more mindful of this. And so yeah, like as a kid though, I was in choir. This was probably like my only stint of technical learning. And yeah, so like I'm in choir in elementary school, in band too in elementary school. What did I play? I played the baritone.
No way.
Yeah.
The baritone horn?
Uh-huh. What did you do?
Yeah.
No way.
From
No
fourth
way.
to eighth grade.
Look at that.
I usually have to, it's like a tiny tuba. I just think it was a small tuba.
Yeah, because anytime I say I played the baritone, people are like, what the fuck is
what's
a baritone?
That? Yeah. You said between the tubas and the trombones. Like,
That's hilarious.
That's great.
Small world, I guess.
There's only like 3 of us.
Right. But yeah, I played the baritone in elementary school. Also played the sax. But I played both of those for 1 year each. So like I started out playing the baritone. Then the next year I played the sax.
Gotcha. I stayed committed for like,
I like
6
that.
years.
Yeah. I wish I like stayed committed with instruments. Yeah, because like looking back on it, it's like, oh yeah, I used to read sheet music and actually, know what the name of this chord was.
Right. Yeah. I couldn't even tell you anymore.
Yeah, right.
Like bass clef, treble clef. That's all I really remember.
Literally.
And I kind of think of that in like the same way to me. Like I did it like 5 or 6 years. And then I remember going to high school, like I tried out for there was like different high school bands, like one, the more technical one, and the other one's like the easy credit one. And they're like, oh, you're really great. And you're like the only guy that plays this instrument. Like you should play in this band. I'm like, I'm too cool for that. I regret it, but like, okay, that was the time.
I think playing instrument is like ride a bicycle. Like if
You think so?
you think you forget, you start to do this, you at least like read couple pages of information, you can come back to that because
Maybe
it doesn't
I should go
go
get my
anywhere.
hands on a baritone.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
No, it is our brain, especially when you why usually parents give their kids to the classes, because if you learn it once, you can remember it when you grow up. But
Yeah, so I guess if you ever need a baritone player.
But honestly, that's I like having that hope because like a lot of me writing music is done a cappella. I'll write a lot of my songs just me in the house, pull up my phone, record a voice memo. And, I'll write a whole song like that, just kind of like me singing and hearing the instrumentation in my head. And so then, when it comes to working with producers and stuff, like me translating, like what I'm hearing is me, just like humming chord progressions, beatboxing a little bit. And it would be nice to actually just be able to sit down, like at a keyboard or, like pick up the guitar, play what I'm hearing. And I think I will get to that. I'll get to that point one day. Just not right now. But I do think too that I've learned, like when it comes to songwriting, that like working with musicians is like something that I've always loved. And I would say like the past 2 years, I've really been kind of just locked in with working with producers because it's easier. And like granted, like the producers I work with, like they play instruments. But like the songs that we create aren't very live instrumentation heavy, and it's something that I really do miss. And for the Wawa show, it's like I have brought the musicians out for it. And I remember, those rehearsals for that, which those rehearsals were fucking grueling. It was literally just a week, not even a full week. It was 5 days just straight of dance rehearsals, band rehearsals, dance rehearsal, band rehearsals, sometimes both in the same day. And it was a lot. But during those like rehearsals with the band, it made me, like remember how much I enjoy like truly composing, like being the guy, pulling the strings and just like, okay, do this, do that. And, like working with musicians, it's a lot easier to convey like what you're actually hearing, because I can just kind of like sing the exact instrumentation melody I'm hearing and have them play that, and working with horns, like I love a horn section, because it's grandiose, it's big, and so yeah, working with the horns, it was so fun, like coming up with horn parts for them, and just being like, okay, do this swell here, like that was a terrible that was literally such a terrible
I think we got it.
yeah.
Don't worry.
I did it a lot better in rehearsal. Like that was me just like off the riff.
We believe you.
Thank you. Sometimes belief is all that matters.
I mean, if you can hear it in your head and you know how to explain it to the musician, to the artist, that's the all you need.
Yeah, and like it was cool the way it all came together, and it makes me excited for more music and like creating more music, because it's like when it comes to songs for me, I'm realizing more and more how much I appreciate a live touch to it,
Mm-hmm.
like a human touch, and like especially with like the proliferation of AI and yeah, right. It's like, I think it's so important that humanity truly exists in the art that we create. So yeah, I feel like I literally just kind of talked for a good 20 minutes straight with no questions asked.
It is a podcast, and this is a platform where we allow you to express yourself. So don't feel bad about that. One thing that I do want to ask, before we draw this conversation to a close, I notice you do this thing where you perform and you kind of just, you know what I mean?
I know.
Like I noticed when you're performing, you're just like, you're dancing, you're singing, and then the other hand grab the mic, and it's like really fast, and it's like the mic levitates a little bit. It's like the mic doesn't move from where it's at. Like your hands are just moving. So I just wanted to ask, like, did that come from somewhere? Was that intentional? Is that something you thought was cool one time and kept it going? Like, what is it with that hand switch?
That is such a good question, because I actually, like, legitimately, I just noticed it. I would say maybe the start of this year, because like I saw a video of me performing at the park, and I was like, oh, that was kind of cool what I did with my hands. Like, have I been doing that? And I started like watching like other videos back, and I'm like, oh wait, I have been doing that, I guess. And I think what it really stemmed from was because when I'm out street performing, I have this fucking long ass cord. Like, it's so fucking long. And so to maneuver around it, I guess naturally, I'll just kind of like toss the mic and, kind of like step over the cord too. So, it's just like me naturally. I'm sorry. It's like me naturally just kind of like moving around this chord. And it's funny that you have mentioned earlier how it seems like a lot of my music career came just from like practicality and necessity, whether it me being having to make money or like getting fired from this job or this just kind of like lining up. And yeah, I guess I would say the same with this whole microphone toss thing, because I really do think it just came from the need of me needing to maneuver around this long ass cord and not trip over it.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh wait, like that's kind of cool. And it's also just kind of like intrinsic at this point too. It's like I don't even really register that I'm doing it. It's just like me tossing the mic. And yeah,
That's really cool.
But it's funny that you mentioned that it's like, oh yeah, the mic's just kind of like sitting there levitating for a second, because there's this performance that I did at Love Park, and they have this picture where it's like, the in between of, the mic toss. So, both of my hands are, just kind of like out, and the microphone's just floating in the middle.
That's
and
really cool.
It looks cool as fuck. And I remember I had posted that. I think I had just like sent it to like my family or like a friend, or probably all of them. And, I was like, oh, I've slowly been, like, revealing my supernatural abilities. And I was like, yeah, the mic, it was levitating there for like 5 seconds.
Right.
But, it's like, one of those things where it's like, oh, is that really happening? And yeah.
You could have had all this, Royal Farms.
They could have. No, they could have never, honestly.
Well, Joshua, thank you for sitting with us. Like, this has been a real illuminating and great conversation, and kind of like, like you said earlier, pulling that curtain back and showing people, some of that process and like the work that goes into this. And yeah, like, we love having these kind of conversations. We love kind of like allowing the guests to talk shop, and like, you really did take advantage of that, and we really do appreciate that. Before we conclude this, we just want to like hand the camera back to you. First off, let people know where to find you again. And then if you want to leave the guests with, if you want to leave the audience with anything, little anecdote or anything, that stage is yours.
Okay, well, let's start with where you can find me. You can find me again on all of the social media platforms at Joshua Mitchell Music. Then I am on all of the music streaming platforms at Joshua Mitchell. But yeah, first I want to say thank you for having me. Yeah, like, this was a great interview. Yeah, both of you and Mary, y'all did y'all's thing, so I appreciate that. Marie, I feel my heart just sunk, because it's so terrible when you been saying somebody's name wrong.
No,
and so confidently too.
Oh, trust me, I deal with that all the time. So my name Marie is not usual for Ukraine, where I come from. So people call me totally different names. I was Marina, Maria, Marishka, Masha. I totally understand. There's too much name. Sounds the same. I'm not offended if you worry about that.
Okay, cool. But yeah, really thank y'all for having me, because, I feel like I don't get to yap enough, and I love to yap. So
yeah, absolutely.
Have me on again.
Honestly, absolutely. Like, there's plenty more that we can probably touch base on, like,
yeah, this is only an inkling of how much I can yap. But yeah, to leave y'all off with one last yap. Yeah, I would just say, never let anyone, this is going to be so cliche, by the way, but yeah, never let anyone kill your dreams. I feel like as a kid, we kind of know what we want and who we want to be, but as we get older and go through life, society kind of breaks us down and puts us in a box of what they need us to be in order to function in this capitalistic society. But yeah, just kind of like be who you want to be, do what you want to do, and society will thrive because of that, because you are existing in a true and pure way.
I like that. Thank you for that. Picture time. Sweet.
so warm. The air's no longer freezing.